Okay, we're getting everybody on board. Yeah, you're coming on. Thank you. Coming on, coming on. It takes a couple minutes, I know, a couple of seconds anyway. Just a slight delay here. This is great. Welcome. Welcome, you guys. Seriously, welcome. Wow. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful to be alive today? It certainly is. We have a great topic. We have a great topic, and I know you're going to love it. Thank you for participation, your participation. I mean, because, really, this rich girl whole entire workshop theme and cause wouldn't happen if you weren't there to be part of it. So I take a lot of cues from you guys. I want you to know that what you talk to me about in those personal messages makes a difference in what we do every single week. So thank you. Thank you. Jennifer, welcome and hello back to you, beautiful one. Thank you. And Kimmy, congratulations, brand new director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. Beautiful family. Kimmy, it's really good to have you on. Congratulations again for you and your family, your future, and of course, your senior, Lisa. Stacy, it's great to have you on. And oh my golly, hello, hello, Lindsay Bailey. Thank you. We've got a topic today that I think you're going to like and need. And if not now, it's going to happen sometime in your near future. Now, I want you to know that I'm talking a little bit funny because I just got back from the dentist and I have my whole side of my face is numb. My tongue feels like it's like 4 times too big for my mouth. But you know what? We're going to do this, right? So I'm going to try to speak as distinctly as possible. All right, so here we go. So my question to all of you earlier today was, how do you remain in peace and still be strong? Okay, how do you remain in peace and still be strong? So we're going to talk about 5 really good strategies to just give note to today. And we're going to talk about relationships because this is the season and this is the year to really take that full on relationships. And we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to talk a little bit about fear, and we're going to talk about how do you handle negative outcomes. And again, 5 really simple suggestions for all of you. Okay, that's a lot to do in 15 minutes. We're going to do it. We're definitely going to do that. So last week, you guys, and the election, all the events of last year has so many people feeling overload of thought, stress, fears, just to name a few, right? And every possible bipolar experience and emotion, everything, right? This is a time that we need to take note of our thoughts. What are we thinking? How are those thoughts serving us and serving to a solution? How are we getting to a better outcome? Or even frankly, how are they helping, our thoughts helping us to be a happier person in the here and now? Yeah. So many people are facing family challenges, health circumstances, employment, and then you toss into that mix dozens of relationships that they need a little higher level of management, or they need our time, they need our attention at the very, very least. And then, of course, we have the holidays coming. Okay, for many people, this is a time that's not really that happy. Maybe they have some memories attached to the holidays, or they're lonely, or they're sad. It's a host of things. And then for many, of course, it's a time filled with love and laughter, family, friends, or don't you know, it's really kind of a mixture of both, right? It just depends. It can be a big mixture of both. So I'm here to help you guys. I'm Suzanne Brothers Varley. I host the Rich Girl workshop every Monday. Thanks for coming on live today. You can also go to us at YouTube and do a search engine for Suzanne Brothers Rich Girl. In fact, I'd really like for you to subscribe to that because it will bring up our ratings on YouTube. I don't necessarily talk about YouTube very much, but please go to YouTube, search Suzanne Brothers Rich Girl, subscribe. That will really help because I would like our message to get out to more people. Don't you agree? Right. I think it's very much needed. I'm here to help. I'm here with you every Monday. Pray about our content every single week. So here you go. We're going to talk about some gold nuggets from past topics that have made a real difference in our experience and certainly our outcomes. And for most of you, This is going to be a little bit new, okay? Just hang on, strap up, buckle up. But for some of you, it's going to be just kind of like a gentle reminder of a great way to navigate everyday life, okay? That's what we need, right? Wouldn't you agree? Okay, we got more people coming on. Thank you, Becky, for being here. You always are on. Becky, just appreciate you so much. And again, Jennifer. And hi, Kara. It's good to have you on as well. Thank you. Thank you. Bridget, great to have you on. Carrie, hi, Carrie. Hi, it's good to have you on. Anita, thank you. Okay, you guys, go ahead in the comments section and talk about how do you remain strong? How do you remain strong or remain in peace and also remain strong? How do you do that? Okay, so type like crazy, you guys. And if you hear something that is being said and you have a thought about that, bam, comment. Okay, you guys, let's do that for sure. So what are you guys paying attention to right now? Where do you on purpose have your inner knowing that warrants your attention? This is a time that will either wear you down or polish you up, or does it really do both? Okay, for sure, I know that this time in our life is kind of a grit building time. We develop a lot of extra muscle right now. So how do you stay in peace and remain strong? Good question, don't you think? So we're going to talk about ways to support you at your very most. We're going to use them all, or you can just kind of cherry pick them, whichever one is working for you. But we're going to handle it right now. Here we go. Renee, it's great to have you on. Hi, Kay. Great to have you on as well. Linda, hello, hello. Okay, here we go. Number one on this list, and it's not really in order of how important they are. It's just as what's come to me this last week, especially. Okay, are you willing, number one, are you willing to do things imperfectly? Are you? So closing your mind off because we lack something. We lack experience, or we lack skill, or we lack knowledge, or sometimes we just lack emotional stability, can result in us kind of shrinking back and judging ourselves. And there is real significant difference between taking action, resting from action, allowing some think time, as long as it's not too much think time, right? And then to pass from the emotions that could be high. We all have a lot of choices, you guys. We have tons of choices. So instead of judging yourself for what you didn't do, didn't think, didn't act on, didn't do so perfectly, how about this idea? Number one, giving yourself some grace, allowing yourself not to do things perfectly. You know, during stressful times, we have talked in the past a couple of weeks ago about the way people handle stress. They handle it, they fight, they flight, or they freeze. But there's really a fourth one here, and it is the other way many of us handle stress, and that is to overgive, over nurture, over everything, and it's because we're fixers. So it's the fourth one, fix. So what are your reactions to what's happening in your world right now? Are there places that you are doing all four? Are you in flight? Are you in fight? Are you in freeze? Or are you in fix? When I ask all of you to type to me privately even what your go-to is, do you know the number one response to that question is what is your go-to about when you have high stress? Many of you said flight. Your stress response was to leave the scene. Now I'm laughing because my mouth is numb. I think I just spit at the screen. I'm sorry. I feel like I just spit at all of you. Sorry. Yeah, my tongue is way big now. Okay. I'm not laughing because of flight. I'm laughing because of what I just did. Okay. So we don't really talk about the fourth one much, about the fixers, but let's acknowledge that because we need to acknowledge it. It's because what we don't acknowledge sometimes can grow out of control. And for most women, we've been trained, long time trained to be fixers. Find a solution. Don't let anybody struggle, for heaven's sakes. Don't be hurt. Don't allow anybody to be hurt. Don't be sad. Don't allow anybody around you to be uncomfortable. A fixer, you know, and if it's you, you have a very large burden to carry. And we know that in many cases, people need to struggle to develop stronger characteristics, stronger coping skills, and certainly to be a good life teacher. For us, sometimes that's hard for us to step back and let people struggle to gain strength. All right. Oh, you're talking to me. Stacy, fight or fix depends on the situation. Don't you know? Yeah, many of us are really good in all of them. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick example of what I was thinking about. Can you find the beauty in a relationship that is currently really not at its best? Because number two here is, where can you find the beauty in all things? That's the number two thing that I really want to mention to you today is, can you find the beauty in a relationship that's not currently at its best? What good can you find? A lesson, an experience, spiritual tutoring that softens you, humbles you, teaches you. Okay? Remember your brain. Okay, remember our brains. Go back to our brain for a second because it's important that we revisit this. It's its job. Your brain's job is very good at finding what's wrong. Let's understand, how does this relate to anything that you are doing right now? Well, when you find the beauty in all things, it redirects your brain. So instead of finding everything wrong, and you pose the question, what's the beauty in this? How can I learn from this? Good how questions. It will redirect your brain because it will do exactly what you tell it to do. So you go into a beautiful home, for example. You go into a beautiful home and you see beauty all around, but then you see this little tiny 1-inch piece of orange on the wall, or you see something spilled on the carpet. So, or how about this one? We look into a mirror and we see ourselves, and unconsciously, without really knowing, we look for something wrong. Our hips are too big, our hair is too gray, or we see this or that or whatever. So yes, it's natural and normal for our brain to be self-critical, but it doesn't change the fact our hair is too gray or our hips are too wide, because what happens is we miss the hundreds of other wonderful things about us, about you, that makes you simple, beautiful, and very, very you, which there is not another you. So how about this one? Well, let's also look and see who have been talking to us. Thank you, Renee and Cindy, and thanks for being on. Anita, thank you for being on. She says she's a fixer. Okay. Let me do another one. How about this one? You have time with family and friends, and something is said or done that has a negative impact on you. Your thoughts start to take over, and that becomes the focus of almost your entire experience. Your thoughts will not leave you alone. Thoughts are racing around in your head like a toddler carrying knives. Wait, okay, so Suzanne, what are you suggesting, that we find the beauty in this? Negativity? Thoughts that hurt you, maybe premeditated or not? Yeah, come on, you guys, you can do this. You can find the beauty in almost anything said, anything done, any negative impact. Just stop, grab onto your thought before you act. Ask what I can learn from this situation. How can it teach me? How can this guide me? How can this give me a better future? If you ask how, then you are one giant step forward, because remember, you're going to remain curious, and how questions are always curious. And then, of course, then you get an answer that's going to serve your life better and serve the whole situation, right? Okay, you ready for number three? Let's do number three. Number three, it's important here to handle your own thoughts, okay, before you begin to start to manage someone else's. Pause on that. You got to honor your thoughts quickly. Take note of them. It's like catching a bee in a net, right? Before it stings you. Look at it, decide what you're going to do, think on purpose, and now rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Just make this a habit. But how do you make it a habit? You start doing it once, and that is taking note of your thoughts. We easily can give in to seeing only what's wrong instead of what's right. Where's the beauty in this? Remember, you're managing your thoughts before you're trying to manage someone else's, right? Okay. Have you ever had any intention of doing a worthwhile project? You want to get this worthwhile project done. Maybe you had a list of to-do things in your business or anything in your life. Of course you have. We're women, of course we have. But then you've told yourself, a couple of things: how great you're going to feel when you get it accomplished. You've pumped yourself up. You've even thought of the reward that you'll give yourself after feeling or doing or accomplishing. And then you find yourself putting it off. Then you wanted to start with full intention. I mean, you wanted to, and then something was missing. Something we should do before we get started. And it could be minor. It could be minor as not having enough charge on your telephone, or feeling hungry and feeling like you need to eat first, or you need to sharpen your pencils, or whatever. Okay, your brain will come up with an excuse not to get started every single time, because it's been doing that. It's used to doing that. It's very technically savvy on how to do that. Our brain will use past ways to create a present holdback because it knows how, and it was very effective. So how do you battle the brain? How do you put yourself in charge and not lose you in the outcome, and not let those toddlers in your head take over? Okay? So here's the deal, you guys. You manage your own thoughts before you try to manage someone else's. And you know what I have found for me is that sometimes managing other people's thoughts is a way to procrastinate managing my own. Okay. I can't chew on that because my tongue's too big to chew. But let's chew on that. Okay. Let's see who's on here. Aquila, thank you for being on. Lindsay, yep. Yeah. And it's the heart that makes us great. You're so right. Becky, thanks for commenting too. I love that. Mary Ann, hello. Always have such good comments, you guys. Okay, I can't wait till you read that whole thing. Oh, you guys are awesome. Seriously, we should just all get together as sisters and do a once a week podcast and just do it all together. That's what I think, right? I'm going to give thought to that. You guys ready for number 4? Let's do number 4. Embrace the outcome of the emotion. How do you guys really want to feel? Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Make the how do I want to feel a possibility. We all have a very strong tendency to try to outmaneuver our brains when we feel an idea or a purpose coming on, a higher source. Treat a worthy thought like a God call. Because when you treat it like a God call, it's your secret weapon of the heart. The heart can change everything. When you know that your worthy thought is actually a higher calling, you guys, you're going to have some weapons to battle the brain when it holds you back. Once you move past the brain, woohoo, you've won a victory. Congratulations, you've moved past the brain. And then you're starting to develop the ability to control how you think, which controls what you do, which will result in all of the results. All right, so you guys, I'm going to wrap up here in just a second, but I got to talk about fear and faith because they walk along towards one another. They're side by side. One of those forces is going to dominate the course of your life. Think for a second about the Apostle Peter. I gave this illustration several weeks ago as he was walking on the water to meet Jesus. It was a bad storm, waves blowing up way over his head. He was walking on the water, but the wind was rustling all over him. I mean, how could he see through all of that, right? But as the waves are crashing overhead and the wind was toppling over, Peter went. He went. So he's faithful, but then he went into terror, and then he went into faith, and then started walking to fear again, and then to terror again, and then to faith, and to faith, and then from that, and then back to fear, and then faith, and finally faith. Okay, that was pretty much his journey. Fear, you guys, is a survival tool that makes us take action most of the time. Fear is also something that can stop us. Fear is also future orientation, anticipation of what lies ahead. Fear projections, you guys, are always negative. Fear projections are negative. Fear tells us that the future will somehow be painful. Fear serves us poorly when it's misinterpreted. It underestimates our power, your power to overcome. Completely underestimates it. So we're going to note to self here, all of the things we've been talking about, they take some time. Give it some time, you guys. Give it some time. Give and take some time. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. Some experiences are just there to teach you some of these most important lessons about life right now are going to sting. They're a hard sting, real hard. But you're going to learn. The harder the lesson, the harder the sting, the better the lesson. So step back for a quick minute and ask yourself, what and how can I learn from whatever is happening around your life? What can I learn from this? And then allow the answer to come. Now, the last thing I think is one of the most important things, and that is to give thanks in everything. Someone mistreats you. Give thanks for what you're learning and the power that you are gaining over self, over the flesh. Give thanks in mastering your mind, that what you do to have and to hold is your opinion, your way of doing your own thinking. Someone has, something has maybe gone bad, your experience, a disappointment that is maybe way beyond your thinking to resolve it. Give thanks that you are believing that an answer is coming. Now, what I just said is you're giving thanks before the answer comes, in advance. Then act as if the answer is coming. Give thanks in advance of an outcome is not much common sense, is it? But common sense isn't faith, and faith is not common sense. It's in the dark places that really does introduce us to us. And in that place, in that dark place, this is where we build grit, much more faith. This is how we build happiness, self-acceptance, and personal knowledge. And after all, I think that's why we're on earth, right? We're on earth also to learn how to love one another. So in this month of gratitude, we talked about a lot of things today, and we're going to wrap up. Thank you guys for all being on. Thank you for your great comments. I cannot wait to respond to them right after this call. So 5 reminders, you guys. Give thanks in everything. Remember to embrace the outcome and the emotion of how you want to feel. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Once you've named that, you've given your mind something to focus on, redirect to. Handle your own thoughts before you begin to manage someone else's. And then ask yourself, where can I find the beauty in all things? Where can I find the beauty in this thing? And then be willing to do things imperfectly. You guys, it was really great to have you on today. Know that I love you. Thank you for making the work that I do here purposeful. All right, we'll see you again for next week on the Rich Girls series. Private message me if there is a topic you really want to handle, really want to go into, and we'll do it. Okay, God bless everyone. Thanks for being on.